Hello. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Sarah here, founder of the Sisters Enchanted. Today is day 4 of Expedition to Soul. Day 4. Can you believe it? Moving right along rapidly through this quest of ours. If somebody is new here, maybe you were brought here by a friend and you were tagged in a video or a comment, you have no idea how you got here. Let me fill you in. This is our free 5-day class that's happening. It's more of an experience than a class. I think it's an invitation to quest and journey inward and see what it is that you're going to see for yourself. We began on Monday, and today is day 4. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we've been bringing classes in community just like this online since 2016, almost 6 years, to thousands of people all around the world. And we believe in intention, intuition, and everyday magic. And we know that when you radiate with those things, your whole life will be different, and you can change the lives of those around you too. All right, it is day 4, and day 4 is our day where we start to reimagine what's next. So on day 1, we started with reclaiming our energy. We thought about this personal pilgrimage, taking time for ourselves, space in a different way for ourselves. On day 2, what did we do on day 2? I'm losing my memory of everything that it is. On day 2, we assemble the allies and we bring all our best versions, all of our worst versions, just every version whatsoever of yourself ever into your being, and you invite that back in. On day 2, we also make the declaration that we are here for this. We are all in. And we do something symbolically. That's the invitation, at least on day 2. I do love, over in our app community, a few people shared dancing videos of themselves, which I love, because that declaration to move, be joyful, be magical, be in your own authentic presence is so powerful. It's your most powerful magic tool. You know, we want to get all the things, and all the things can be helpful and guide us and provide that oomph that we need. But it's in you also. On day 3, which was yesterday, I was joined by my sister, astrologer extraordinaire. I didn't even say she's a pro tarot reader. She can run laps around most people talking about mythology and story and deity. And my sister Anna joined us yesterday for the cave day, as we call it, day 3, and that's when we do our shadow work. It's when we look inward. So if we're thinking of this as a literal quest that we were all on together, you know, we find out something's happening. We assemble our friends to come with us, and we say, we're going to go on the quest. And then suddenly we get to the deep, dark cave, the mysterious woods that we don't know if we should go through or not. And that's where we were yesterday. And we do that. We talk about that. We talk about our moon sign. That's the piece of you in astrology that's kind of subconscious, but is the part that will show up to hold you back also. And we talk about that because so much of what we feel like is in the way of us being where we want to be is really internal. And that's not to say that there's not very real external problems that keep us stuck or make it challenging to move forward. I mean, I think all of us can say that we've experienced something in life that we're like, this is out of my control and it's a thing that's happened. And now you're just going to tell me that I got to moon sign my way out of it. No, it's not about that. Though it's about understanding who you are in relationship to when those things happen. The fact of the matter is, we are all impacted by the energy of other people and all of the things happening in the world around us, the situations that we've been born into, the situations that we live in. You know, it's all there, but how we are experiencing it, how we move through it, that has a lot to do with our own shadow stuff. And I see this in Expedition to Soul frequently with people who are like, oh, I just couldn't find the time, or I don't get it. Like, I don't understand tarot. I don't understand shadow work. So I'm just not going to do anything. And that's okay not to understand it. It's okay not to get it. It's such a short week. We wouldn't anticipate somebody would just walk out of this like, I'm a pro at everything. If that were the case, we wouldn't teach our holistic witchery program. That's where we go deeper with it. But you also understanding your reaction to how have I had time? How am I reacting to being confused? That's the shadow part, right? And this happens in our daily life every single day. So today on day 4, we are talking about this idea of cultivating a future vision. We're going to talk about this in a few ways. I do want to shout out Team TSE, Team The Sisters Enchanted, TSE for short, in the comments today. So if you see anybody sign their name, if you're new here with a dash, Team TSE, that means that they work here at the Sisters Enchanted. So we have a whole team of folks who teaches in our programs, writes curriculum, does video calls with our students, a whole bunch of people making this happen. It's not just me. And they're here today in the comments to help answer your questions. And occasionally we'll have some folks who are graduates of several of our programs. They sometimes chime in and sign their name with Magical Mentor. And that means that they've taken a few of our programs, completed them, and it's a pretty safe bet that they can answer your questions just like we would, or at least similar, or would know our take on how we would answer your question. And we'll probably speak to that if they're signing their name Magical Mentor. So thank all of our magic mentors for always being here and supporting us. We appreciate you. All right, so day 4, once we've gone through everything that we've gone through, we get through the cave. We're on the other side now. And it's time. We've had this experience, right? We probably, if you think of any good movie or book, the experience happens in the cave, in the enchanted woods, in that dark place. It's not on the other side. That's the experience. And that's what happens when you're in that shadow place. Now that we're on the other side, it's like, well, what do we do now? What do we do now? And this is where maybe we have some tokens of our adventure. Maybe some bits and pieces have come with us. We've gained something, we've lost something. And we use this 5-eye spiral to guide people through a lot of what we teach here. And the 4th eye is ideate. Now, that's an architectural term that I stole and brought into all the magic making. I brought it into us here, us magical folks. But the idea with this is that you're bringing pieces of ideas together. You are taking parts of different versions, different creations, different wholenesses, breaking it apart and bringing it in to a new version, to a new experience, to look at something in a different way and imagine and dream. So today on day 4, your invitation is to create, find, choose a magical talisman, or both. There's a future self visualization on the class page that you can do also. And what do these have to do with these sort of like the thing that happens next? Once you've experienced intention, you have made this declaration, looked at all the parts of yourself, embraced them, done the shadow work. Today it's time to say, well, what's next? What does that look like? What's possible that I didn't think was possible? Or what have I been living in that I just thought was the way it had to be? But really, I realize now that I have all of these tools inward at my disposal to create the next thing for me. And this could be small. It could be just doing more of this, more thinking what's next, right? It can be just, I'm just going to think on what's next. What does that look like? Maybe you have this really clear aha of like, oh my gosh, I know what I want 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And that's very clear to you now. And that's what it's going to look like. So it's totally up to you how you want to do this today. The future self visualization, works for different people in different ways, depending on how you connect to visualizations, how you receive them. But when you think of your future self, whether you do the visualization or you simply look at your life in the day to day right now, or you just think like, what do I look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? I think that it's something we don't do enough of is really looking with intention at the future, because we like just kind of think, well, it's going to be more of the same. Like, I'm going to work this job. Maybe we have hopes, like you hope to pay off a mortgage, or you hope to pay off a student loan, or, you hope to do whatever, or you hope to travel or something like that. But how does that align with your intentional living today? How does that align with your shadow self today and the work that you're doing today? Because it's the things you're doing today that are going to create that future. So if you want your future to just be more of the same, which is fine for some people, and that's okay if that's what you want. But if you have a future desire where you want to live, feel, breathe, be, embody a different way, that future could, if you are 68 years old watching this and you're like, I don't know, like, what should that be? That you could look out at 70. What do you want life to look like in 2 years? If you are 28 years old watching this, what do you want your life to look like at 30 or 40 or 50? It doesn't have to be like, oh, it's too early for me. It's too late for me. There's no transformation for people of me, or I'm not ready to transform. That's not a thing. That is not a thing. That's a thing you're telling yourself. That's not a real thing. The thing here is that there's always a future. 5 minutes from now is in the future. 5 minutes from now is literally in the future. So I hope that you'll be listening to me in 5 minutes. But once this ends, 5 minutes from that point is in the future. And what are you doing in 5 minutes? What's your intention for that time? And how is it getting you to where you want to go? How is it moving you through the shadows you encountered yesterday? So whether it's 5 minutes, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, whatever, there is a future. So you can do the visualization, sort of open up to possibility. If you have no idea how to even think about what the future holds, open up to possibility. Maybe you have a very clear intention. I will tell you from experience that it's not so much the paying off of the debt. It's not so much that I'm going to have this, I'm going to see this. It's the intention of living, the intention of embodying a way of being that will get you to exactly where you need to go. The intention of a feeling, a way you want to move through the world. One of the things that we teach is intention setting versus solar goals, because they are different things, but they work in tandem. And I think that working with intention setting, which is why we work heavily with the moon in our programs and really align to the rhythm of the several moons Earth has, the one moon Earth has, the lunar cycles. As we align to that rhythm, we begin to feel our intention and understand what that means to us. And then the goals follow. So an example for me, my intention is to have a life of time and location freedom. That's my intention. That could look like 100 million ways. That could look like me, I don't know, living on the road, and maybe I don't have much material wealth, but I have time and location freedom and I'm happy and healthy. That could look like me having tons of material wealth and also having so much time and location freedom that I can provide it for others, like the people who work here and people who need experiences and and help other people out in reaching their intentions. There's not a way. The point isn't the how it looks. It's the embodiment of the intention. So your future, when you think of your future self, how do you want to be? Do you want to feel connected, so connected to the earth that you live on? Maybe that looks like gardening. Maybe that looks like moving to the woods. Maybe it looks like moving to the ocean. I don't know. But when you know how you want to feel and you have that feeling, that embodiment about you, the rest will start to come. And this is where we do that ideate thing I talked about. We start to take bits and pieces and put them together. And we start to see, does this fit? Does this feel like this is going to work? Is this what my future looks like? Because if there's one thing you can't do, no matter how great of a psychic you are, we've got some really good ones around here. You cannot tell what is going to happen 5 months from now. You have no idea. None of us really have any idea. We can have a sense, we can have a direction, we might have a strong knowing, but we really don't know. So if we know how we want to feel, though, how we want to embody, then we take these bits and pieces together. And the invitation today to create this magical talisman, to choose a magical talisman, you can have that as your grounding piece, as the thing that keeps you centered. Now, I have a few examples here for you. Just as this was, remember the friendship bracelets? Maybe you make it like school or camp or something. So I make these all the time because they're really easy and fast, and you can whip them up in all of 5 minutes. with just the embroidery floss, but thinking your intention in your mind. What's my intention? Whether it's your big intention, your intention for a lunar cycle, maybe just for the next week, you have an intention that you want to hold on to. And they're so quick because you can wear them. And then I always think once they fall off, they stretch out and come off, they've done their work. You can use crystals. I know we have Michelle Wenzel in the comments today. Michelle is the owner of The Rock Cellar, Cellar with Cellar. I love the cleverness of that name. And anyway, so I know we got some crystal hounds in the house, but a crystal is a great item that you can just hold and visualize your intention, charge it up with that energy, and use it as the reminder of where it is that you want to be. And these talismans can come in all shapes and forms. I have on my desk, what is it called? It's the Spanish moss. So one of the things that we want to do is buy a house in a certain area in Florida. We spend lots of time there every year. And as self-employed people, it makes a lot of sense for us to move to Florida. But we want to live in Connecticut also. Like we're not leaving Connecticut. All in all, we love our house. I love where I live, actually. Absolutely love it. I feel so blessed to live here. But also, we want to live in Florida. So that's on our list. It's like, just how are we going to do that? We're unsure. Do we want a condo so we can rent it? We have a huge camper. You can't park the camper at the condo. So do you see the goal is not quite there? The intention is there. And I have this Spanish moss that sits, I have some at my house, some here at my office, and I see it all the time to remind me of that intention. I see a vision board. Someone's asking. A vision board can certainly be a talisman. The first thing you see when you walk into the Sisters Enchanted office here, because this is outside of my home, it's our headquarters, our HQ. The first thing you see is a wall right when you open the door. And if you've seen the photos of Anna and I or videos where there's all these purple circles, there are 700 to 800 of them somewhere in there on a wall. And they have the name of every holistic witchery student enrolled on this wall. I just added 33 more this morning. And it's the first thing you see when you walk in, and it's the last thing you see when you walk out, obviously, because it's right there. And that serves as a powerful talisman to us, as a reminder of what we're doing, why, and who we're doing it for, because it's that first thing you see. You can't walk in here and just forget like our intention for the Sisters Enchanted, because we have it there smack in our face when we walk in. And it's, again, that last thing we see when we walk out. So you can take this magical talisman today, whatever it is that you choose. You can have several things, an affirmation on your lock screen on your phone, a photo of a place that feels peaceful to you and you want to be there. It's not so much of what it is, it's your connection to it and what it does to you when you spend time with it, what it does to you when you connect to it, the feeling that it's giving you, the reminder that it's giving you. And that's what this tool does, bringing it all together. Oh, this is Jamie. Jamie on YouTube is saying that dot wall Jamie has been here in real life, and that dot wall is quite big. Yes, today when I was filling it in, I was like, I'm going to have to make some choices about this because I can't reach that high, and I don't want it on the floor, and then they'll start to fall off, when we like put stuff down. And so I don't know what to do. Anyway, your talisman, let it come to you in whatever it is that you want it to be. But it's to support you forward in your journey through intention, through creation, through cultivating this way of being that you want to experience and have. And again, it's not so much about knowing the answer, it's about supporting yourself forward in it. And I say this in class videos and on podcasts and wherever I talk about, creating something different, something better. And I think that we have this fear, or maybe not a fear, or this resistance to something better, because we so often feel like, but life is good. I have food on the table and I have a job and I have a partner or a pet or whatever. Like I have these resources and I should be grateful and happy with what I have. And of course we should be grateful, right? We should always be grateful with what we have. And that said, wanting more is not a bad thing. That's an amazing thing. And embodying more allows you to have more to serve, to give, to whatever it is you want to do for other people in your life, for the world, the community, whatever, be the best pet mom you can be the best parent or child of aging people, because you've created more for yourself. This year alone, I have been able to we've survived. I was in the emergency room this year. I've had my aging grandparents. I need to move them across a third of the way across the country. We've had people sick. We've had just all sorts of unexpected things happen. But because I have more of time, location, freedom, because I have more of that, because I have the abundance to hire support at work, to hire help in the home, because of that, I'm able to still help other people and help all these people in my life and not completely crumple on the ground at the end of the day because of the practices, the things we talk about here. So having that more is not a bad thing. Having that more has enabled me to help aging relatives have an end of life that's amazing and have an end of life that has a support system. We have so many people available to guide them through that end of life and these end of years times because of what we have more of, right? We're able to help more people around the world because of what we have more of. I'm able to employ and provide and bring in other small business owners who are women because of what I have more of. So having more has only done more good, even though my life is fine too. My life has been fine. There was not a day that I ever woke up and thought like, oh my gosh, my life is so crappy. I've never thought that. So when we think about this talisman and creating a vision for the future, take out that discomfort of not deserving, feeling like you shouldn't want more, like things are fine. So what could you even want? Maybe it's more of what's fine. Maybe it's more of what you're grateful for. And that's okay. That more, that bigness for your life will just create more ripples and bigness for other people who are experiencing your energy. It's a wave that just keeps going out and out and out and out and out and impacting more and more and more people. All right, let me check on some of these comments here. I've seen them going by and see some tech things happening here, and also some shares. A necklace as a talisman. I saw Michelle talking about spell bowls. I saw vision boards come by. I see some tech stuff with the app and the Facebook group happening. Just bear with us with tech. Yes. So yes, the invitation to share a photo of you dancing. There are threads for each day of the week. So if you're in the Facebook group, you'll want to share in the thread. We love to support everybody here. And the reality is that we have so many people signed up for the program. We also teach classes. And while, so we have people sharing in threads so that we can best see what's being shared. Otherwise, if it's just in the open Facebook group, it gets lost in the wilderness. It's one of these challenges we have with offering free classes. We love to offer free classes. Like this week it brings us. So even one of our program director, Sarah Mill, she canceled an optometrist appointment this morning because she was like, I just want to get in there and share and support everybody in the comments and be fully present. So we're all super jazzed about it. And there's so many folks here, and the free classes, while they're free for you, they do cost us about upwards of $5 a person to host. So in the Facebook group, we do have it. So you have to post in a designated thread so we can see it. So just find the thread for day 2 and post there. And we will certainly see that post. All right. Same in the app. We have those as threads right now too. So you'll just post in the designated thread. All right, let's see here. Just checking through things. Necklaces are really popular as a magical talisman. I think because it's there. You see it in the mirror. The thing about any magical object that you choose, it's your continued connection to it. So you think about like if you got married to someone, right? You can get married to them, but then if you don't see them for 10 years, you never talk to them, you just you get married and then you walk away and go separate ways. There's no connection there, right? The connection is gone. So you might be married on paper, but the connection is gone. They come back 10 years later, different people. It's the same with a magical talisman. or any magical tool that you choose. Just because you purchase it, just because you look at it, it does not mean that that connection will be there 6 months from now if you stick it on a shelf and it collects dust. The point is to interact with it, which is why with my things that I would consider as falling under that umbrella of magical talisman, they're right where I can see them all the time. That name of Holistic Witchery students, I cannot miss it when I walk into this office. There's no way for me to avoid it. Not that I would want to, but there is no way. With my Spanish moss, it's right there when I walk in my house. It's right here when I sit down at my desk. There's no way for me to avoid it. I have our 5-eye spiral, the words for that, they're on my lock screen on my phone. Pick up my phone, I see it. It's right there. There's no way for me not to see it, right? So when I see it, then it's the practice of pausing to connect with the intention that you have for it. Connect with the intention you have for yourself in your life. And remember, why am I doing this? When we start to live with more intention and make everything we do as much as possible have an intention to it, it's easier for us to get to where we want to go. And that's why we say that when you lead with intention, you integrate your intentions, you do shadow work, and you dream up the future, your intuition grows. And that's because you get so much faster at understanding what's for you and what's not for you based on starting from living with intention. So if your intention is to have time freedom like mine is, and then somebody asks you to, I get asked all the time to participate in like events and things, and 99.9% of the time I say no. Actually, in the past year, I'd say 100% of the time I've probably said no. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because I pause with all these reminders and say, what's my intention? Time freedom. Well, this is going to take away time freedom, location freedom. And then thinking about my bigger intentions for the world and what that looks like. So just always knowing where are you going and then making decisions based on that. And your talismans can help you to stay focused on that. Let's see here. I see over on the app, what if you know you want more or something different, but you're not quite sure what it is? Had a hard time creating an intention because it's too broad or general and I don't stick to them. Yeah, I think that, and I see over here too, trouble with setting intent. Christina, is that the question I just answered? Is that, so Tess is saying, I stumble with intention. Setting intentions is nebulous to me. Yeah, a lot of people, it's one of our most commonly asked questions is how to set an intention. And I think that one of the biggest things I see with people is sort of making it a big thing when we can just start with a smaller thing. So I would look at, firstly, what is something in your life right now that feels uncomfortable? Something in your life that feels uncomfortable. Could be time, could be money, could be relationships, could be your body, could be sleep. Something that feels uncomfortable, because something that feels uncomfortable is going to keep us from reaching whatever intention we set anyway, unless we do the shadow work around it. So if you have no idea, really, think to yourself, what's something that feels uncomfortable? For many people, it's finances, it's time and finances, being overwhelmed, right? Like there's so many responsibilities. How are you going to do them all? Money, there's so many things you want to do. How are you going to do it all? Or even if you have money, it's like, am I doing the right things with my money? Is it growing the right way? Am I going to send my kids to college? Am I going to retire? Like, what am I supposed to do with it? That's the other thing. Time and money I see as the top ones. Health is another one. So a thing to do would be to set an intention with something that feels uncomfortable to you right now. Maybe maybe an intention can be you feel confident with money, or you feel healthy in your body. I say that one all the time. That's what I'm always working on. You feel healthy in your body. You feel time abundant. Those are intentions. Once you start working on that intention and you're intentional about living your life in alignment to it, other things will open up to you and fall into place. My intention 6 years ago was not time and location freedom. It was more time. I, at the time, was running a different business. I was working with kids with learning differences and advocating for them in schools. And I often had meetings that I had no control over. It'd be like, oh, the IEP meeting's at 11 o'clock today, so I have to be there. I also had a toddler at home, and I really wanted to be present with her and make my own schedule. So this started with what was uncomfortable. Well, it was uncomfortable for me that I was constantly having to find a sitter because I didn't have regular help, nor could I afford regular help, and I didn't want daycare. So that was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable that I was just having to like be at the beck and call of other people. That was all uncomfortable. So my intention started with more time abundance. I want to be present and have more time. That was my intention. That has grown now to time and location freedom. I pretty much have the time. Like my time is mine. I can choose to do with my time as I will at this point in things. So now it might be time for me to start considering, well, what's uncomfortable now and how do I adjust that to the next level? So something I just in this moment, I just had that epiphany that I have time freedom. My time is entirely, nobody dictates my schedule at this point besides me. So, and life things that happen. I've got 2 old cats that I have to literally like have people come tend to them every day if I leave. So, anyway, so those things. So start with one thing that's uncomfortable right now and have that be your intention. All right. So I see some other questions coming in here. How do you deal with uncomfortable versus anxiety? Yeah. So as a person who I am a time bender because I'm very intentional about my time, Michelle. So I have dealt with anxiety. I used to take medication for it. So for me, discomfort versus anxiety, that's a great question. And I want to say that that's going to look different for different people. I don't think there's not a broad stroke answer for that because of how anxiousness presents in different people. So when I'm anxious, I will actually do more of the thing that's causing me anxiousness until it makes me break down because it's like a sense of needing to prove myself through that anxiousness versus uncomfortable. So something that's uncomfortable to me, like picking up the phone to call my accountant, right? Like that's uncomfortable. I feel the butterflies. I start sweating. But I can feel that it's discomfort in my body versus for me, anxiousness is a like fight or flight kind of sense. And that's why I say it's going to be different for different people because I have a family member who has anxiety also. And her anxiety looks very different than mine, where mine becomes like I'm going to overdo right now. Hers is very much like, I'm going to shut the door and I'm going to do nothing. So I think that when you think about discomfort versus anxiety, I can't answer that in a very concise way because I think it's different for each person, how it represents, how it comes out. Right. But for me, that discomfort is definitely more of like I'm sweating. I'm going to feel embarrassed. Right. like someone's going to laugh at me. That's a little bit different for me than anxiousness. So I think understanding in your body how those two different things feel, which could take some time. That could take time. That could take a lot of time. I mean, the first time my first anxiousness walk into, I was 11 years old and I'm well past 11 now. And, and I wouldn't say that I got it 100% figured out. So it takes time. It's not something that's going to happen tomorrow. I do think being more present in the things that we talk about, especially with working with lunar cycles, we have in our holistic witchery program, a contributing class by our friend Valinda, who does Kundalini yoga and with the moon centers and some of these practices to get more in your body and understand the feelings in your body. That's been very helpful to me because I can feel it feels uncomfortable, feels in a different place for me than anxiousness. Anxiousness is more in my chest. Discomfort is more in my stomach. And that's helped. But that took time. That took time for sure. All right, let's see here. I'm going to try to look through some more comments if I can. What's going on over here? Just checking out comments and shadow work too. I see this kind of coming up that shadow work can certainly help with much of this as well. Like some of the things that, I didn't realize that I had anxiety, understanding how I was carrying past experience into my present life, and how that was just how I was living that helped me to see what was real and what wasn't real in terms of my feelings. And again, though, that's just an experience that I've had that took time. That took time for sure. There's a lot that, as a person, as I said, I've been on medication for anxiousness and depression in the past, and I see some people here a fear of professional phone calls. It doesn't seem like it to all of you, I know, but I have a real fear of visibility. Which sounds wild when I say it on camera to lots of people, but with peers, with other people who are doing, like other female business owners who are at the same kind of level as I am, or other professionals, I shut down very quickly. It's very challenging for me to unmute on a camera. My voice shakes. I start sweating. So I get it. I have different levels of things. Also, combined type ADHD over here. So I totally get it. And I think that some of this is really, again, I'm going to make it really simple. What's uncomfortable in your life and what's an intention you can set around it? What's uncomfortable for you and what's an intention you can set around it? That's that. And then the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step. And then everything will reveal itself in time if you're intentional. And then we do shadow work in tandem with that, because in the past, when I've really not held boundaries, I've spread myself thin and tried to do for everybody and provide for everybody without providing for myself first. That's not holding my intention of time and location freedom. And so I'd have to ask myself, why am I sabotaging my intention right now? And that's shadow work. And that's shadow work I still do all the time, because it's very natural to me to be the one to say, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll help you. Yes, I'll pay for this. Yes, I'll put that on my calendar. Yeah, so I'll just do it. It's easy for me. It's very natural for me to do that. And I have to be intentional also around remembering my intentions and pausing before I respond and saying, no, actually, that's not mine to do. No, actually, I don't have to do that. No, actually, you can do that. And that takes practice and it takes time. So as I'm sitting here saying all of this to you, remember that one, I've been teaching these classes for 6 years. I've been learning these things for 22 years, 21, 22 years. I feel it. Every year I got to add a number onto that, don't I? I've been practicing it for longer than that. And I've done all kinds of just the magical practices, working with the moon, the spells, the tarot, the intuition. I've also done the work of being in therapy and getting help I needed on some things. And I will say that the thing that's been most impactful in my life has been what we teach in the 5-eye spiral. That hands down has been more impactful. And I said this the other day, and I'll say it again. Astrology saved my marriage, not the thousands of dollars. I'll now say I don't have health insurance in the traditional way that most people do. So I've literally spent thousands of dollars on marriage counseling, and astrology saved my marriage, not marriage counseling. So I will say that. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, so many great shares here. So many great shares. Yeah, and y'all are not alone. That is for sure. Y'all are not alone. Whatever you are feeling, there's so many people here that somebody has been through, if not the same experience, a very similar one. All right, so today's topic, again, that magical talisman, future visioning. And that future could be 5 minutes from now, 5 weeks from now, 5 months from now, 5 years from now, and then coming back to intention, coming back to your talisman, right? Coming back to that and being grounded in that. And then just looking at what's next for you. I set intentions big, and then I also set an intention every single night for the next day. and for the next moment. And for, I set an intention before I got on here. I'll set an intention before I go do something this afternoon to get through there. All right, I do see a few more questions. I thought I was going to be done, but I see a few more questions, so I'll answer them up. Maria's asking, should we do one intention at a time? I think that the more focused your energy can be, the faster you will see change in your life. That said, as I just mentioned, I do think that you can have an intention for every moment. So my intention for life is time and location freedom, right? My intention for this live stream was to be focused, because I can so often be not focused, and to show up and help people. So that's my intention for right now. And my intention for, I'm going to a float tank in a little bit. My intention for that float tank is going to be to try to breathe and relax. But all of these intentions for my moment to moment living, my day ahead, the night ahead, those all are in alignment with my greater intention of time and location freedom. Because if I show up here and I'm present right now, that helps me spread my message. It helps us grow at the Sisters Enchanted, and that aligns with time and location freedom. If I'm present at the float tank, if I breathe at the float tank, that helps me be more in my body, listen to my intuition, which helps me towards time and location freedom. So I think that, the more focused you are, the faster you're going to see the result of your intention. And then also, just how are you intentional about your moment-to-moment living, which gets you to that intention. Let's see. Aisha, setting intentions in relation. Oh, Anna's answering that one. Past situations, traumas start the chaos in my head when there is a sound or triggers, but therapy helps. Yeah, there's lots of, I always say processing is for therapy. Shadow work is simply for seeing your shadow. It's like, literally think of Peter Pan and how his shadow is just out there floating around, and Peter Pan's like, I need my shadow back. And that is shadow work. It's about seeing in this moment, maybe I'm about to get on a call with peers and I'm really nervous about it and it's making me not want to show up, right? Like, I don't want to go. I don't want to be there. And then in that moment, I could see, well, what are my shadow things? Fear of being ridiculed. I can directly tie that to past experiences. Fear of being singled out. I can directly tie that to past experiences. Many instances where I was like put on display, bullied, all these things. And I can see that my shadow work is seen. Right now, I have this fear of visibility tied to those things. So let's bring that into my wholeness. I survived that. I'm strong. I'm very resilient because of it. And I know what I'm talking about. And I take that shadow and I sew it back on, just like Peter Pan. And I see it for what it is and how it's impacting me right now in my future. That's shadow work. Processing is therapy. That's for therapy. All right. And I saw something about relationships. And I'm not sure Aisha's comment. And Aisha, I'm afraid to touch my phone to look back because yesterday I did that and the whole thing shut off. But when it comes to other people and your intentions, it's super important to focus on yourself. Super important to focus on yourself because you cannot change other people. So I'm not sure what Aisha's question is, but as a person, my husband is not into tarot. He's not into the moon. He does not care 1 ounce about crystals. I have 2 cats. He is not an animal person. We are polar opposites in many things, my husband and I. We have some things that we're like the same person, but in a lot of this like life interest stuff, not the same at all. And really trying to change him or get him on board with me is never helpful. So really focusing on myself and how I'm receiving the relationship. And also, I don't know if this was your question, Aisha, but anybody who's experiencing this at some point too, doing your shadow work and your growth, you will come to the point where you are going to have to ask yourself, like, are these friendships or are these, it could be a marriage, could be a partnership, could be a friendship, could be a working relationship. Is that in alignment with who I am today and in alignment with my future self? At some point, you have to ask yourself that. I know that I've shed many friendships, many friendships, not because they were bad necessarily. They weren't toxic. It's just sitting in that friend circle, hearing about another damn minivan was making me crazy. And so like, I do not care to hear about that. And that's just me. And not Anna's like, I want a minivan. I just could not do it. And sitting with like these groups of people, I feel like, oh my gosh, who cares? Or this one person I was friends with, she like went to bat over this life jacket law. I don't even know. Life jackets are very important. Clearly they save lives. But I was just like, this is how we're spending our afternoon. This is not for me. And it was nothing bad. She's a great person. It's just, I was like, I can't come to this regular friendship meeting anymore. Just must move on. I must move on. It's just not in alignment with where I want to spend my energy. I know. Don't come at me with the minivan hate. Minivans are fine. It's just this conversation. It's like particular conversation around like what minivan we're going to get. I'm just like, oh my God, just pick one. Pick one. Which one serves your family? Purchase it, buy it, drive on with it. Get your minivan if that's what you want. But so relationships will shed, and that's okay too. That is okay. Might feel challenging, but it's okay. Let's see. Yeah, I love this. The minivan was on my vision board 10 years ago. 2 weeks ago, I finally ditched the van. Yeah, I mean, I love talking about my camper. There's probably so many people who don't want to hear about my camper. There's probably like half of you, at least half of you, if not more. If I started talking about fifth wheels and hitch pins and I don't know, like water filtration systems and like the weight in the back or whatever, like so many of you would be like, I'm out of here. I don't want to listen to this. But and that's okay, right? It's just your energy and your vision for yourself. I'm like, what's in alignment? Anyway. All right then. I like a good hitch pin. Oh, I can't see who's saying that. I walked into our hitch pin the other day. Yeah. I still have a lump in my forehead. It's not the other day. It's been 2 weeks, and I think I must have done something bad because there's still a lump there. Anywho. Oh, I just see someone. We live in our RV full time. Love it. So good. Yeah. I love our camper. We got a big old 44-foot fifth wheel. That's the word I'm looking for. See, I'll talk about it to you. Okay, that is it. Talismans, future self, get into that. And yeah, share in the groups, share in the places. I see some people asking, what is the 5-eye spiral? We're going to talk about that tomorrow in depth. We're going to go over the whole picture of it and what it looks like. So we'll bring everything together. All right, y'all, you have a great day. Thank you for being here. If you're interested in holistic witchery and really living that 5-eye spiral, be sure to check that program out. And I think that's it. I'll see you all tomorrow, same time. Have a great day ahead. Bye.